The final thing we need to talk about are the platforms and other components. When we downloaded the Android SDK before, we didn't have everything that we needed to develop for Android. What we're missing are the Android-specific platforms and the SDK platform tools that go along with those platforms. What we're going to get next are the components that will allow us to target a specific version of the Android OS. You may have heard of Android OS versions like 1.6 or 2.1 or the new 2.3. We need to get those platforms and get the APIs that go along with those specific platforms if we're actually going to create an application that targets those platforms. We also have many other useful things that we'll need, such as a USB driver if you want to be able to debug your application on a real device. Also, there's some samples and documentation that are included with the platform and components download that are really helpful whenever you're trying to develop an Android application and you get stuck on a hard problem and really need to see some example code. You can download part of these components and part of the platforms, but I just recommend to go ahead and download everything if you can. It's not really that big, and it's nice to have this stuff if you need it later. Now that we have the ADT installed, we can go ahead and get the platforms and other components. If we go into Window and then select Android, SDK, and AVD Manager, we can go to Available Packages, and we can see that there's an Android repository and third-party add-ons. This contains all of the Android SDKs, samples, and packages, and some third-party ones like the Google add-ons and some Samsung ones for their devices. I usually go ahead and just check all of these to install them all. And then we have to accept these installations. You can see all the things that we're going to install here. And we can choose the accept all. Alright, now that we've got everything installed, we can go ahead and start to create an Android application to try and test this out. We can go to File and then New, and then we're going to select Other, and then we're going to choose Android and Android Project. And we'll just call this project name Hello World. And then we'll go ahead and choose to target the Android 1.6 platform. And we'll call the application Hello World and the package com.world.hello. And we'll create an activity called Hello Activity. And then we can click Finish here. And we have here an Android application that's been created for us. Now we can try and run this application. And when we run this, it's going to tell us that we don't have an Android device to target. So we need to create one. So we can say yes. And then we can create an Android virtual device by clicking New here. And we'll just give this a name, Test Device. And we'll go ahead and target the 1.6 framework also. And we'll give it a 200 meg SD card. And we'll just go ahead and leave all the defaults here. Now we have an Android device that is an emulator that we can deploy our code to. So now we can try running again. And now our emulator should come up. And it does take a second to load the emulator the first time. And now you can see that our application has launched. It's called Hello World, and it says Hello World, Hello Activity. So this proves that we've successfully installed Eclipse and have everything that we need to develop our Android applications.